Welcome to We Locked In, the Real Welfare Check, Unity in Motion. I'm your host, Kevin KK Ford. Y'all know what we do every Tuesday, man. My co-host with me, Queen of Money Magnet. She in the building, and we have three special guests. We got the Rutherfords, and we got Tasha Boss Chicken with us tonight. We're gonna be covering quite a few things, but we wanted to continue the conversation that we had already started dealing with mental health. So we was gonna bring it to y'all, so we can tap into the pulse of the people. Everywhere, you already know, hit that like button, share, subscribe, start notifying the people, let them know we on, bring them into the building. And while we waiting to get these numbers up, man, while we waiting for these numbers to come up and these other people to get in, please, Queen go ahead and introduce herself, and then we're gonna go to the guests.
Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Queen of Money Magnet. Y'all already know what's going on. I am super duper excited to be here tonight. I am the founder of the Building Unity community, also one of the founders of the Real Welfare Check, alternative ways to deal with stress, how we cope, how we overcome obstacles, and building unity in our community through our mental health and healing. So I'm very excited about tonight. We have some very, very, very special guests in the building. Like all three of them are very special, and they talk about mental health. Recently, I was just with Boss Chick talking about mental health. I just read a book by the Rutherfords, so we got a lot to cover for the night, guy. I'm just so excited. So I'm gonna shut up and let them introduce themselves.
Uh,
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? So we are the Rutherfords. I'm your boy, Brother Greg. They call me Minister Greg, Pastor Greg. Whatever it is you need me to be, I'm there at your service as the Lord wills. But I'm here to serve because I love serving my people and pouring out, and that's what we do.
Yep, I'm your girl Antoinette, and we are here, baby. We are from St. Louis. Just want to put that out there. STL, stand up, baby. But how y'all doing?
Nah, good. Thank y'all for pulling up, man. All the way from
They
St.
said
Louis.
it's more to St. Louis than Sexy Red.
Love that.
There's a different side of St. Louis on here, y'all.
I love that.
Boss Chick, how you doing,
Boss Chick,
baby?
right?
I'm doing pretty good. How y'all doing? Well, I'm Tasha or Boss Chick. I'm here in Atlanta now. I was actually originally from Illinois, but moved to Memphis for 25 years, and now I'm here in Atlanta, my new home, and just enjoying doing what I do, and that's just as you all, just trying to make a difference out here. I have a show called Real Talk with Boss Chick, and I also host a video countdown show called The Flavor, and Kevin and the Queen were on my show. What was it, last week for my first episode, and we were talking about mental health. So I'm all about mental health.
Love it, love it.
Nah,
Sorry, y'all might hear a couple lambs in the background.
Lance, you at the
Yeah, I'm
barn?
about to leave the barn.
The barn is a good peaceful place. And now just to to get things rolling and start off, man. We had a I appreciate you though, Tasha Quinn, for the actual show where we had a beautiful build, and it spilled over into a lot of other conversations that I was having. I ended up going to the bookstore. With my cousin and somebody else, and we were just sharing books and going through things. And one of the books we were discussing today was called Beyond a Dream, right? And it's by Dr. Thomas Horror, MD. In the book, it deals with a new branch of psychology that he created. This was years ago, though. This was in the 90s, actually. He created it. So the term was called metapsychiatry, right? And metapsychiatry was taking psychology to a point where instead of these diagnoses that they're giving people with certain things like meds and um, other type of treatments as well, they were saying that you can heal things from a soul perspective, right? From dealing with the essence of who you are, going back to the root of you, right? And when he started expounding, I'm like, yeah, that sound, I said, shit, that's kind of deep. Hold on, let me look into this a little more. So he started going into the science of like existentialism and metaphysics, using that because those particular things deals with the world and nature and how things are, right? And the science of your feelings and emotions. And a lot of times we get caught up in the base feelings of what feels, right? What feels good, right? If you hear something and you may think, oh, it sounds good, or smell something that smells good, right? Or touch something and it feels good, you start to, you know, this is what I want. But these things can also be bad for you, right? And then this is where our intellect comes in at, knowing that these things could actually be bad for us. So now knowing that, it's like, yo, hold up. If I'm so caught up in my feelings and feeling things, then I'm not really making intelligent decisions. I'm allowing those feelings to make the decisions for me, right? Even if it's harmful for me or not. So that's like he used love as one of the examples, and say if you see a person and the person is appealing to your eyes, right? So now you get caught up in the appeal to your eyes. So say you lose that, right? The person is not appealing anymore to your eyes, or you can't, or God forbid, so you can't sight, then how you would actually feel. And a lot of times our relationships and how we interpret things are based on that, right? And just going through that, it made me start to get into a place where I started looking at emotional intelligence, right? And once I started looking at that, it was a way to start addressing or looking at first my mental health issues, right? Because I had a bunch of them, right? You know, being a juvenile, 16 years old, getting life in prison, being in a maximum prison with adults, and involved in gangbanging, just around a certain that particular culture, which causes abnormal behaviors, right? Which causes a person to like suffer from PTSD and not even know it, right? Which also offers is like you wanting to, you know, live up to a certain reputation, so you hide your true feelings and you hide your emotions because you're trying to appease everybody else. You want to be accepted, you want to be liked, you want to be looked at in a certain light. I mean, so we tend to lose who we are, you know what I mean, because of these societal norms, or what have you. But just wanted to share that to get the ball rolling. Yeah.
I love that. I really do. I want to get into some of our guests
Yeah.
real quick. I know we got to talk about like we finished our conversation, but it really falls right in line. Like
Yeah.
I've been reading this book for a couple days, and oh my gosh, it's so phenomenal. Like, and I wanna first kind of get into that if we can, and then it healed me in 2 3 days, y'all. Just certain things that I've even tried. I promise y'all, I'm reading the book. I'm reading the book and I'm writing notes because I'm like, man, I want to do. They got a workbook that go with this book because I want to do, I want to do this while I'm reading it. I'm in there asking my man questions. I'm calling my friends, and I really want us to be able to just talk about overcoming these obstacles and kind of, learning more about how we can do it. A lot of people tune in, they be going through the same things that we go through:
Yeah.
stress, current problems, having kids early, all kinds of stuff. So, I'm here for it, man. I love it. I love you, Kevin, so much for opening up this platform because the people that you attract and that you have come on here, they need to hear this from both of them, from all three of them tonight, because I've been studying all of them and I know their journeys is real and I'm just ready to share it.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact. First of all, I want to say thank you for allowing us to come on.
Yes.
And we love to talk about these type of subjects because it's something that's spoken about in the neighborhood, in our neighborhoods and in our communities, but it's not really addressed and dealt with.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are speaking on it, but they're not really dealing with it and talking about processes of how to deal with it the best way. I know along with us, what she's talking about is our book. It's called The Pursuit of Oneness. So it's available on Amazon. We can talk about where it's available at, but let's talk about what it's about. So The Pursuit of Oneness, it's all about reaching wholeness. And for us in our marriage, we had to learn how to heal with each other. And sometimes when you're healing with somebody, that's the hardest thing. Yeah. Because your trauma is triggering their trauma, and their trauma is triggering your trauma, and our trauma triggering one another. And I'm like, man, I ain't know you was dealing with all of this before we agreed to move forward with this. I ain't know you was dealing with all these problems, right? I'm just thinking I got a couple of issues, right? And so we had to learn how to love each other and love each other enough to say, I want to see you whole. And in doing that, our first commitment in our marriage and our relationship was we not letting each other go no matter how hard it gets. Yeah. We're not about to give up on each other. So we won't be using the word divorce in our marriage. We won't be speaking death over our relationship. Like, we're not doing none of that stuff. We're going to work and we're going to do all that it takes to see one another reach wholeness. And so I know we'll talk a little bit about some of the things, some of the situations in the book, but that was my intro.
Yeah. So just realizing, I think the first step that, because everybody's on this healing journey, this wholeness journey, the first step is to realize and really, really know that what you got going on is abnormal. It's not normal. Though we grew up in these households and this family with this background, toxicity, and all these generational curses and different things that we've seen in our environments, it's not normal. No. And a lot of times we try to move on in life without even addressing, like you said, the roots. We got to get to the roots without us even addressing our roots and going back and really assessing and saying, hey, man, I know we did this, but this wasn't right. You know, and we plan for everything else in life. We plan on how our business gonna go. We plan on how much money we gonna make, how we gonna do this, how we gonna do that to stunt. But nobody is planning how to be whole. So once you realize that you do come from a background that ain't right, or you do got some things going on with you that's just not normal, then you have to write out a plan. What is my goal? How am I going to get to the other side? Does that mean removing myself from this environment? Does that mean reaching out to people who I know are on a different level? Does that mean that I have to go take sabbaticals or do whatever it is that I have to do to reach my level of wholeness and go through my journey of healing? And that's what we talk about in the book, just realizing your traumas. And if you really, really want to overcome it, work at it. It's not enough just to speak it. It's not enough just to pray. You have to get down in the mud and you have to really, really fight for your life.
And do the work.
You got to do the work.
Do the work and recognize also that trauma, I love this phrase, trauma is not transferred, it's triggered. So what that means is nobody's ever coming into your life and you just saying, this traumatic thing happened to me, so I'm going to make you pay for what they did. Mm-hmm. No. They come into your life and they've said something that triggered it. They've done something that triggered it. They moved a certain way that triggered it. So any type of trauma that you've had in your life, nobody's just getting a backlash from it. It's being triggered. It's being triggered by something they're doing, something they're saying, and it's not their fault. It's just something that it helps us to recognize the trauma that is there. So if we can see that trauma is not transferred, I'm not mad at you because of what my daddy did, right? I'm mad because you just did something that reminded me of my father. So now how do we deal with this? Now that I see that this is a trigger, but this is a natural part of who you are. First of all, why was I attracted to something like that? Number one. Number two, why is it triggering me in my 20s and 30s when it happened to me when I was only 10? Yep. You know, and now let's talk through it. Let's walk through it. So a lot of people always ask, was it hard to write the book? Writing wasn't hard, but having to revisit those emotions, those same situations, that was a hard part. And we had to constantly do check-ins with one another. Are you okay? Why are you still feeling this way? You know, and it really helped heal us as we wrote it out, because we had to really, really acknowledge the fact that, like she said, this stuff not normal. This stuff wasn't cool. Some of this stuff that happened to us, you know? So how do we work through it and become better together so that we can really reach oneness? And oneness is not about us just coming together. Oneness is about a unity and also an individuality of recognizing that I have to be one whole unit in order for us to be one whole unit. You know, you be whole, I be whole, we come together, and there we see wholeness.
So I'm glad. I'm glad you spoke on that. But now, you know, where I wanted to go is, where does that start with the individual, though? Because that is the main thing. Where does it start with the individuals in order to be able to partner? Because, you know, it starts with self first. So before we can accept anyone or bring it or even share anything with anyone, we have to make sure we're correct. So where does that process start?
That process starts with the individual. First of all, recognizing that there are issues, that you have issues. We have a hard time looking in the mirror. Yeah. And when I say looking in the mirror, we check it out. We look in the mirror whenever we look fly, right? We get in that mug, we like, what's up? You know, we rubbing our face down. We like, hold on. And really, we're only looking in it to check out flaws. But we're thinking the flaws are just on us. We don't like to see them in us. So someone who doesn't like the way, let's say, the way their teeth look, when they look in a mirror, because they know they haven't changed their teeth, they're going to look at everything else for a flaw because they're already aware that this is a flaw. So when they look in the mirror, they're going to start practicing smiling like this because they don't want to look at their teeth because they know it's something that's going to take time to change. We have to start looking at ourselves at the things that it's going to take time to change. Why do I keep talking like this? Why do I keep responding like this? I'm mad for what? And it's going to be the way you do that is you listen to the people who are closest to you. We, as a culture, we have a hard time. People that's closest to us, they get the most backlash. We ready to buck off on them. We ready to go off. And we like, man, what you mean? You supposed to be my homie. You supposed to be my father. You supposed to be my mama. You supposed to be my son. You supposed to be my sister. Whatever it is, whoever it is, we get mad because they start calling out things and they like, you ignorant. You just say whatever come to your mind. Why would you say something like that to me? You know, maybe it's because it's true. You say whatever come to your mind. You don't filter things. Why do you do that? You know, why you always flipping out on everybody? Once they say one thing about this, you flip out about it. Recognize that they're there as a mirror. The people who are closest to you are your mirrors. And they're there, whether they're telling you or delivering it the right way or not. If they're telling you egg on your face, it's most likely there. Because ain't nobody, if one of your worst enemies was sitting in your face, they're not going to sit there and look at egg on your face and tell you it's not there. They're going to say, man, you got egg all over you. You got stuff all over your face. But we get mad because we like, you hating. You don't like me. You upset with me. No, I'm listening to my enemies. I'm listening to people. Do you feel what I'm saying? I'm going to listen to the ones who love me. I'm going to listen to the ones who can't stand me. And if they're saying the same thing, then it's probably something in me that I still have not acknowledged needed some type of healing or some type of change.
See, and that's the stage I believe I'm at right now, because I had to recognize I lived a really wild life. From even having a baby at 15, just so many things were normalized to me that I didn't know was not normal until I moved down here to Atlanta. And I'm like, oh, you don't have 3 daddies? Oh, you don't have 7 people that just come stay in your house randomly? Oh, this person do that? Like, it was so many things that I felt like was normal, but I realized, like, when in my dating over the years, I'm just like, oh, well, I can't even communicate with certain type of people because I'm too traumatized and didn't even know. I didn't even know that I was snapping until, like you said, when my enemies start saying the same thing as my family started saying, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. But we're going to come right back to that because I do want Tasha real quick to come in. I know she want to kind of talk about the things that she's kind of been through and overcoming trauma. And since we got you guys and Kevin here, you know, we can talk about this. A lot of people might be in the comment section that might be going through the same thing that we went through. So I would love to hear, you know, a little bit from her and then some feedback with y'all. Cause I mean, after reading this book, I'm telling y'all, like I got a notepad. I don't know if y'all got a workbook, but y'all need to get one now.
Oh, listen, give me a minute. Go ahead and go and jump back on because I got these kids right here and they still.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm
Boss
gonna be
Chick.
right. I'm gonna be right here. Go ahead.
Well, just real quick, a little bit about me and my issue and my trauma. I actually my book is called Who Is This Chick Called Boss Chick, and the subtitle is My Skeletons Are Not in My Closet. I Walk With Mine, and I named that because when I finally kind of piggyback what you guys saying, you know, I didn't recognize my flaws. I just thought everything about me was perfectly fine. But the anger I had, I was quick tempered. I had to really recognize that I had the mindset, to be honest, of a murderer. And it all stemmed back to the pain that I dealt with, that I did not deal with until in my 20s. And it came back to from a trauma that happened to me when I was 9 years old. I was violated by my mom's boyfriend in my own bed. And I I didn't start dealing with that until I was in my 30s. And so, but that trauma went with me my whole life, but I thought I was right. I thought everything I did was right. I didn't bother. I was a nice person. I didn't bother anybody. But how I handled it, nothing was right about my temper. Nothing was right about how I, I was a lunatic, to be honest. But I had to recognize that, and that's what I call my skeletons. They not in the closet, because if it's in the closet, that means it's back put away. No, it's walk with me everywhere that everything anybody encounter with me. You getting a taste of what that skeleton is, because I'm walking with it, because it's in my behaviors. And it wasn't until I recognized that and I started dealing with it, and I started working on myself. And the first thing, kind of back with what you guys saying, you got to acknowledge. I had to recognize it, accept it, and then I started to get help. And one of the first things I did, I go to therapy. I'm back in therapy now. I started a few years back when I was going through a lot of trauma, dealt with the childhood stuff that's happened back then. But now I had a lot of life changes, and now I'm back in therapy again, because I want to speak to somebody that's non-biased, don't know me, gonna help me see things about me and help me do something. Like you say, to even know it but not do anything about it is kind of defeat the purpose if you're not trying to, grow from whatever it is that's that's constantly hindering me, So that's how I see it, and that's how I try to live life every day, and that's why mental health is so important to me, because of what I'm overcoming. I can't say I've overcame it, because I'm still dealing with it, and I have those triggers, and it's triggers. It's triggers, certain things that trigger, and that behavior is right back, and it goes back to that little 9-year-old girl that was traumatized. I have to raise her back to this 46, gonna be 47-year-old woman, because she's still down in there. That's still there. So it's a constant work every day.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I noticed that a lot of times, a lot of the trauma and triggers come through some type of sexual assault or some type of sexual trauma. And that's a hard pill for us to swallow, because we don't want to admit uncle, auntie, big cousin, mama, best friend who keep coming over, right? They did something that wasn't right. And we feel like it's some type of weakness there when we admit this happened to me, and then having to put those people out there, because a lot of those people, we love those people. Yeah. We care about them. They're around us every single day. You know what I'm saying? So we've almost subconsciously been trained to just kind of roll with the punches, instead of being honest about what was actually taking place, around us, in our connections and things like that. So I find that interesting, because in the book, one of our chapters, I think it's chapter 9. But is it chapter 9?
Gotta read your book, man.
I think it's chapter 9. Look, I'm like, I can't remember where everything is. There it is. Chapter 9. It talks about I'll make love to you, and it's talking about how our intimacy was a certain way. For a long time, I talk about how I had a hard time in the bedroom, not doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Because your boy, no, I'm just playing. No. It wasn't doing the act. The act wasn't hard. It was having to lead up to the act, and then what happens after the act.
Intimacy.
The intimacy. Mm-hmm. Because she's like, can you hold me? I'm like, we got laundry to be done. Let me go do something else. And she's like, what the heck is going on with you? What's wrong? And for her, she's feeling like, hey, maybe he doesn't really want me. Maybe he only wants me for sex. Maybe that's it. And I'm like, nah, I just never had to do that, because my sexual history goes back to when I was 6. When I was 6, I was taken down into a basement, and I was told, you lay here, do what I tell you to do. And when we go up in front of everybody, I'm going to say this about you, that about you, so they don't know what's going on. But if you tell anybody, then I'm going to tell them that you're gay. Mm-hmm. Still went up and told everybody I was gay, I was this, I was ugly, I was this, I was that, and run all those things down. So from the time I was 6 all the way until I was about 11 or 12, this is happening with all of these different people. And I talk about how it's crazy that it happened with multiple people and none of them were connected, but they were doing the same exact act. If you don't think that acts and spirits can follow you and people can see certain trauma on you, like this spirit, it saw me and it was like, hey, I can keep doing this. And it's it's going from one person to the next, and all of them are triggering the same things. So by the time I get to her and we're intimate and we're trying to build a solid relationship, I'm like, hey, you know, let's get this thing cracking. You know, let's go ahead, let's be official. She like, no, we can't be official because I don't want nobody in my business. I'm like, hold on right quick. We can be intimate behind closed doors. And not to mention, we was in the basement at our mama house. It wasn't, sorry, mama. We was in the basement at our mama house, so it wasn't no good, y'all.
I'm telling on y'all.
Look, it's all good. She know it now. It's in the book. Look. But all reminders of what? The triggers.
That's right.
So here it is. I'm trying to move forward in my relationship and trying to love my wife the best way I can. But our intimacy is at a standstill because I hated to admit some family member did this to me. I hated to admit my cousin did this to me. I hated to admit our best friends who are like sisters and brothers to us did all of these things to me at a young age, and I couldn't escape it. I wouldn't tell her those things. And it had to flow out of us so that we can learn how to respond to one another better. And intimacy is not a thing anymore. It's not an issue anymore. And there's no barriers now because we had to talk through it and walk through it. I had to learn, how do you want to be touched? Because some of my touches were triggering her. But you can speak to that more.
I think, like you said, people can see your trauma on you. And sometimes we can be feeding into other people's traumas and we don't even know it because we got traumas of our own. So where he is feeling like, okay, you doing the same thing they was doing to me. You take me in the basement, you do this, and then when we get out in front of everybody, you don't like me. I had my own traumatic situation where when I was little, I was around all my boy cousins and my brothers and everything. So I was all of the time the only girl. So most of the time as we got older, playing turned into different things. And y'all know what I'm talking about. And so if I didn't do those things, they didn't want to be bothered. They didn't want to play. They didn't, I can't play the game. I can't go to the park with them. I can't do these things. And so now I'm in a position, I feel like, well, I'm in control now. You don't get to tell me if you want to be bothered with me or not. I get to tell you whether we're going to be an item, whether we're going to do this, or whether, and once again, what is it? Trauma fighting trauma. And it was creating a rift in our levels of intimacy in our marriage. So I think that once we really, really honed in and understood, first and foremost, that the things that we went through weren't normal, what do we want to do to break this? And how do we move forward? And a lot of times, the biggest thing was having hard conversations. Our people shy away from those hard conversations. When you get the feeling uncomfortable, when you get that frog in your throat and you finna cry, either we finna fight, we finna just shut it down, or we done. Don't even worry about it. It's cool. Don't worry about it. No, we have to have those hard conversations because it's so needed to get closure, to get understanding, even if it's just for you to get your voice heard. But even moving on with that, your journey of healing is your own journey of healing. No one else is responsible for that. So even if you're married, he can't heal things that I need to go through healing on my own. And the abuser or the perpetrator or the person who inflicted the trauma, you got to be okay with never receiving a sorry. Yeah. You got to be okay with somebody never even acknowledging their behavior. Even when I sat down with my parents and had certain conversations, instead of them acknowledging those things because they're still going through their own levels of trauma, they don't know how to articulate things. But I went to them looking for things sometimes, looking for that sorry, or looking for them to give me the explanation that I know I deserve because I was the kid. You brought me into this situation. I ain't asked to be here. But they got their own journey. I got my own. And once I began to pursue my own journey for myself, so that I'm a healthy being for myself, for my husband, for my children, for my own legacy that I'm building, I was okay. I was okay with that. So one thing I do encourage when we are going through our journeys is making sure that it's for you. Don't do it to hear the sorry because you may not never hear the sorry. Every time we had conversations, I got excuses. You the parent. You shouldn't have no excuses. I get it. But like I said, they have their own journey, some things they have to address. But I wanted to get down to the bottom of things for clarity for myself, for understanding, and for freedom for myself.
I'm so glad you said that. We go back and we look for that sorry. I myself, I haven't talked to my mom since about probably October last year around her birthday, or probably mine in November. Because I found myself constantly in the same cycle of going to her like, oh mom, look, I'm on TV. Oh mom, look, I'm in the movie. Oh mom, look, I done did this. And I'm like, you didn't do what I needed you to do when I was younger. So why you not doing this now? But I found that it was harder every time for me to move forward when I did care about what she had to say. When I did start focusing on how she felt, or why she didn't say she was proud of me, or why she didn't tell me that she loved me, and how we doing the same thing. And it's just stuff that I didn't heard. And I also had to cut off people who I was around because they was feeding me information from her. And it was causing me more trauma. And I'm like, I don't care that my mama doing a podcast. I do a podcast too. I don't care that my mama talk about she got a women's group and I got a women's group too. But in reality, it was hurting me more and more. So I had cut everybody off and everything to find my why, to figure out, why does this trigger me so much? What can I do for it to not trigger me so much? And when I started to ask myself those questions and I wrote those things down, and I'm like, I'm going to overcome this. I'm gonna overcome this because I don't need to be triggered by this anymore, and people around me don't need to be affected by how I'm triggered. I'll be perfectly fine. Great day, billionaires, at 8 o'clock in the morning. Then I might call my mama, she don't answer the phone, or whatever the situation is, and now I'm mad and pissed off with everybody else in the world. But I had to realize it was myself. I was pissing off myself. I kept on causing my own problems because I would not stick to what I said I was going to do to fix my problem in the first place. So I'm so glad that you said that. I'm so glad. Tasha, you got something to say?
I'm just enjoying it, but no, it is true, and I think it go back to because of I used to be the same way. It was that validation that we be seeking. And I don't need that validation. You know why? Because I survived it. The trauma that I went through, I survived it. I'm this great, successful, beautiful queen I am. And even though those bad things happen, it's a part of who I am and it helped bring me to who I am. So I'm not ashamed of my story. You know why? Because if I'm ashamed of my story, that means I'm ashamed of what I survived. I survived it. And now I'm at the point and I realize that it's just God, those things had to happen because it made me who I am, and I can go out and I can talk about it. I can talk about it to help encourage other people. May not be the same exact story I have, but that pain's still the same. And that trauma don't make me who I am. It's just what happened. I am who I am in spite of that. And it made me stronger. So yeah, and I have to realize I'm not ashamed of it. And I don't, it doesn't matter what people think of me. I know who I am. And that the traumatic issues that happened in my life don't define me.
And that right there is exactly part of growth. Many people don't know who they are. If you ask them who they are, they'll say their name. They don't know who they are. They don't know what their purpose is. When you start to find your purpose and find out your why, and you start to really grow, it only starts to go up
Yeah.
because you know who you are. Not just, oh, I was born Nicole, but I rebranded my whole self to a whole nother individual because it was too much trauma for me to connect that. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not who I am. I'm an attractor. I have a purpose. When I started focusing on my purpose, that's when life started to change for me. Every day when I wake up, why am I getting up? Why am I doing my meditation? Why am I getting on this live? Why am I doing these things? Now I know what I'm here for. I started learning about health and wellness, getting up, exercising, making my body feel so much better. My thoughts were clear when I started eating better, taking the necessary steps to identifying yourself inside and out. It's life changing. But I don't want to hold us all night, y'all. I want if y'all could just give us a couple of tips All three of y'all, just a couple of tips as to how individuals can really find alternative ways or some type of alternative ways to deal with what they're going through, and overcoming these obstacles that they've been through, from molestation to neglect to all of that. Our community deals with that a lot and sweep it under the rug.
Well, I just say, be okay with whatever happened. Deal with it. Really deal with it. And I'm sorry, but I'm big on counseling. Because it just helps me. Because it helped me define some things I didn't know about myself. So number one is to be okay with the ugly things that you may not like about yourself, and the comfort zone. Comfort zone is our danger zone, because if you're comfortable with everything that's going on in your life or with you, that's not good. You got to deal with what's uncomfortable in order to grow. When a baby learn to walk, they constantly fall, right? But you got to keep falling in order to get it. When you're on that bike, you constantly falling off, but you're eventually going to get it. So that's how we are when we're dealing with things of trauma. We gotta, even though we may keep going back to it, but you gotta keep pedaling through. You gotta keep going forward, but accept it and move forward, and be okay with it.
Thank you. I love that.
I would just say, making sure, like I say, plan. Write down what is your plan for your life, and in your current state, are you able to get to that plan? Are you able to be the person that you see on the other side? And if you're not, what necessary steps do you need to take to get there? Like she said, counseling. Huge on counseling. Now, the new generations they getting a little hip to it. But our people are so scared. I guess they think is I don't want to see a shrink. I don't want to do this. You need help. And a lot of us are not in a position to turn to our grandmothers or our mothers and our fathers, because they're still in the same cycle and the same traumatic things that happen to them, or the things that 9 times out of 10 they inflicted on us, and that they're still dealing with. So know that you can't grow in the environment that caused the trauma. You have to sometimes get away from it, get wise counsel, somebody else that's on a different level. That person that they got a different way of thinking. We don't think like that. That's probably who you need to talk to. Get wise counsel and be willing to do the work. You can set all this stuff up. You can say what you want to say. You can meditate. You can do affirmations. But if you are not willing to truly, truly put in the work to change your own life, it's not going to happen. It's not. So get from around them. Get from around them. And be willing.
She said, get from around them.
Right now.
You're going to do whatever it takes to be the better you, because you deserve it. You do.
And then I would say, in addition to all of that, I think it almost looks like a step-by-step process, but then create healthy community.
Yeah.
There's an African proverb. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others or go together. Recognize that we were never created to make it on our own. It took 2 people to create you. Okay? They had to come together and they had to do what they had to do to help you get here. It's always going to take more than one in order to make it. So stop thinking that I'm by myself, because that's the biggest trick of everything, that every trauma that's ever been created. I'm alone. The person who inflicted trauma, they normally try and put it in your head that you're alone. They isolate you. They call you this, that. They tell you, if you do this, then they're going to make sure you be alone, because they say they'll kill this person or that person, right? If you tell them, they're always, the biggest trick of the enemy is always to make you feel like you're alone, or you will be alone. You are not alone. There are others out there who are ready to love on you, who are ready to accept you with open arms. The issues are, they're not just going to accept you doing anything to them, because your trauma will trigger their trauma. So start building a healthy community and be ready for what's real and raw. I don't know about you, but I don't want nobody lying to me.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody telling me, I don't want no yes man. I ain't never needed one. I ain't never been one for nobody. I won't be it for anybody. So I'm not a yes man, and I don't need a yes man. So I'm surrounding myself with people who are gonna tell me the truth about me and help me see myself. So that when a counterfeit comes in and they tell me something that is a lie, my community will be able to tell me whether that's true or not because they spend enough time with me. So make sure you build yourself a community that is going to help you grow and develop.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, y'all, we do have the Building Unity community. They're focused on professional and family building and personal development. I mean, I literally had to go through these things by myself for a while until, like he said, I had to identify what my problem was. I had to then make a plan as to how I'm going to get out of this situation or how I'm going to overcome this. Then I had to cut some ties. I had to let people go. People that I was calling and talking to on a day-to-day basis, they had to go. Now, I didn't say that I had to cut them off for the rest of my life, but for that time being, they were causing me to triggers. So I had to let them go. And then I started building with strangers. Over the last 4 to 6 months, the amount of strangers that have helped me heal, they have supported everything, they have said, I'm proud of you, that gave me everything that I was like all I wanted growing up. All I wanted was a hug. All I wanted was a, I'm proud of you. I stopped looking for that validation from my mama and my daddy and the rest of the people that was around me. And I started looking at the validation of myself. I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am successful. All of my friends are successful. Everyone around me is healthy and wealthy in every way. I started believing that. I couldn't sit there and say, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I do know what I'm going to do because I planned it. If you fail to plan, what is it? If you fail to plan, then you never planned at all or something like that. You plan to fail. That's what. Yeah. It's like, come on, man. If make a left, make a left. My bad. I'm on my way to y'all. But no, like for real, y'all don't understand. I'm so proud of everybody on the platform right here today because I've been watching us all for a long time. I've been watching myself for a long time, and I know nothing but greatness is around me right now. Nothing but power and healing. I know it's more things I gotta go through. The person that molested me ain't even alive no more, so I know I'm never gonna get a sorry. But I know how to protect myself, and I know how to educate my kids on how to have the right type of mindset and how to communicate. That was one of the biggest things that I got out of y'all book was learning how to communicate. And even though y'all talked about marriage, and I'm not married yet, I took what y'all wrote about and I put it in my everyday to day life, even with my 12-year-old son. How can I communicate with him better? No, I ain't gonna wait till the middle of the night. No, I just fine. I ain't gonna go there. But you'll make it right over here. But
What's
yes,
up, man?
I'm
What you
just
looking
so
like?
excited. Okay, we got KK back in here, so we're gonna let him wrap it up. I want to thank y'all so much for joining on and having this conversation. I hope y'all got some great tips for the people who tuned in today. I know a lot more people gonna tune in later on and see the video. But if y'all want to go ahead and let them know where they can follow you at on social media or your website, or where they can get your books. Both of y'all, all three of y'all got books, so let them know real quick, and then KK, you can close us out.
All righty. Well, you can follow us on social media. We on TikTok. We are the Rutherfords. On Instagram, we are as one music. On Facebook, my name is Antoinette Rutherford. His name is Gregory Rutherford. And you can find our book, The Pursuit of Oneness, Amazon.com. You can get a paperback copy and it's on Kindle.
Nice.
And you guys can find me at Tashina, that's TASHINA underscore DA underscore Boss Chick, that's BOSSCHIC. On Instagram and just Tashina the Boss Chick, on Facebook, YouTube, all of that stuff. I'm on all those platforms. And you can get my book, Who is This Chick Called Boss Chick? My Skeletons Are Not in My Closet. I walk with mine on Amazon.com as well. And thank you all for having me.
Oh, they were saying put the information in the comments, so you can actually hit the comments and
Okay.
Queen, you
And
gonna
then
put it
y'all
in
can
there,
follow me,
Queen?
Connect with Queen. Y'all know where I'm at. All platforms, everything. Connect with Queen.
Yeah, Queen, put their information in the chat for me. Put their thing in there. My apology. I was just, a lot of times one of the things we do is take on too much, and I was taking on too much. I really wanted to be here, just sit and give more. But every Tuesday at 8, we are here. Like, this is what we are doing. So you are welcome to come on anytime. Anytime. We have people from all over that actually tap in. There was a few other people that wanted to come on. It didn't hit me though, and I didn't see the thing. I wanted to actually share stuff because on so many levels there is a lot of individuals that need help. Those that are in the streets, that's running around. You see some of the guys in the comments. A lot of guys in the comments that actually been through it, was out there and did go through, whether it was prison or gang life, or just being in the streets, or abuse, or and having a platform, being able to actually get it out, you know what I'm saying, and have someone listen to them and have someone share some of the same stories. And then on top of that, give answers. You know what I'm saying? Even though we not, I'm not a psychologist, but you know, I know what it took me to get better. I mean, and I'm still a work in process. Like Tasha, like she went through her things. She know what it did like for her. And everyone's situation is not the same. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we understand that. But we do know that together, you know what I'm saying, healing together is better than doing it on your own. And this is what we're here for, to give advice, to be a community, just to be a shoulder. You know what I mean, if we possibly can. Next Tuesday, no, same time, same channel, man. Make sure I hit that like button. Make sure y'all share. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that super chat. Make sure you pull people up, man, because we're gonna have some serious discussions and serious topics to actually go over. And if y'all want anything, y'all know y'all can hit the y'all can hit my Instagram, Kevin41996. Put it in there for certain topics that y'all may want to go over, certain things that you want to address that you feel the community need to speak about. And overall, we here, man. We locked in. You know what we do, man. We locked in on purpose. We locked in on accountability. We locked in on progression. I mean, and we locked in as a people. So, man, I thank y'all. Tasha, thank you. Thank y'all
Thank
for
you.
coming out here tonight, man. Peace and blessings.
Bye bye.
Mhm.